Morning guys, welcome back to Luke's Fishin Mission. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can't say I'm not dedicated to try bring some content. It's about 4:45 in the morning, Saturday morning. It's blowing 15 knots at least, and there's rain around me everywhere. It's early, it's rainy, and it's windy. Conditions aren't the best, but sometimes you just have to go fishing. You know, we can't control what we feel sometimes to go for a fish, and you just do it rain, hail or shine. So I'm hoping I might be rewarded this morning for the early start. Early bird gets the worm and all that. And I'm just walking down to the mouth of the creek today. Bit of a trek up the beach. I've got a vibe on, I've got the prong on, and they're obviously my go-to lures. You would have seen me using them in a heap of videos, but yeah, hopefully get a thready or a jack or a finger mark or a flatty. Wouldn't mind a fish for lunch. Like I said, conditions aren't the best, but we make the best out of a bad situation. All right, see how we go. Okay, can't say I don't go to extremes to try and get content. It's 5 AM and I'm crossing a creek, and it gets to about waist deep. Whew, that's deeper than, that's balls deep right now. It's a little bit deeper than I thought. Tide is running out. I would not do this if the tide was coming in. And when the tide turns, you've really got to get your ass back across here, because it comes in like a bloody tsunami. It's a little bit cagey doing this at this time of the morning. Oh, it's deep there. Oh, just got to do it as quickly as you can, and probably as quietly too, so I better shut up. Oh. Okay, it's knee deep now. Oh. Just trying to get to the other side here. Fish the low tide around the rocks. Holy crap, it scared me. Whew. This creek's got a pretty big catchment, gets dirty pretty easily, but it's not too bad. We're nearly there now. I'll get the vibe out. Atomic semi-hard vibe, this guy here, 50 mil. I can peg it out a long way, and that's the reason why I'm using it today. So I can cast it a long way from the bank where I'm standing, the sand, try to get close to those rocks over there. And I don't condone for 1 minute what I just did. Do not do this at home. Mum and Dad, don't watch this video. Okay, this is the lure I'm using, the Atomic semi-hard vibe 50 mil. As I said before, I can punch it out a long way. It's the main reason I'm using it. So in really crappy conditions, or you've got to cast a long way or it's windy, you'll still get this out like a tracer bullet. Yeah, it's gone. That's good. And definitely a bit coffee coloured water, but not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Let's see how many species I can get on this lure today. I'll just be happy to stay dry for the most of the day. There's rain around me all over the place. I don't care. I'm fishing. Tell you, if there was a croc in front of me right now about 2 meters, I wouldn't even know. The water is a bit dirty. Got to have my wits about me here. I am standing in the water about mid shin deep. Not very deep, but I usually only do this when I can see around me, and I can't right now. Blue salmon out there just surfaced, or tarpon. This creek is renowned for crocs too, by the way. Certainly is. Tide's in about an hour, but it is very delayed here. Usually got about 2.5 hours after the actual state of the low is when it will actually start pushing in here, because of the bars and sand out the front slows it all up. So I've probably got 2.5 to 3 hours of fishing time before I've got to get myself back across the channel. And when it starts to come, it comes in flat out. You really got to go. Yeah, it's definitely a bit dirty, this water. Something here. It's about the 5th cast of the morning on the vibe. Feels like just a flatty or something. It's not doing much. Oh, it's a cod, is it? Just a cod, I think. But promising. 5 casts in. Little codly right on the back hook. Look at that. 1 point of the rear treble. Little gold spot estuary cod. Okay, mate. See you later. Got high hopes this morning. There's a lot of activity. There's a lot of bait splashing around. A lot of buffing of the bait. Clearly some barramundi around here too. I'm using this small Atomic semi-hard vibe, like I said, when I'm land-based and I want to punch out a long way, this lure is fantastic. I'm also using the dark black colour because it stands out and silhouettes better in this dirty water. Already got that cod in the first five or so casts, 5 minutes, so I'm hoping to get something else, a few other fish. Hopefully they're on. But you get a maximum of about 2.5 hours, 3 hours fishing here before you got to get out. I haven't been out here for a while. But these vibes are great. Say weighty, cast them a long way, they vibe really, really well. If I was to take one lure in the creek, it'd be this, very closely followed by the atomic prong, 4-inch. Get me top 2, and that's what I got on my other rod. But right now, I'm using this because I can cast it a lot further than the prong. And distance is key right now for me. Covering the water, getting close to those rocks. Ooh. Oh, a few rocks out there. That's where you need to be. At least I'm reaching those rocks, that broken cobble and ground. My lure's fouled up now, but I'm getting about probably 35, 40 metres on the cast. Really good distance. Probably 40 metres. But I'm definitely hitting rock, which is good. That's where the jacks are going to be, and the better fish. Oh, yep. I reckon there'll be a flathead here. Oh, and I reckon I just got one right on the edge of this drop-off. I was just about to say, I reckon there's going to be a flathead here on this drop-off. And now I've hooked up, and it's not a bad fish, right on the edge of the sandbar. Even though it's dirty, I can see the ripply water where the flow's going over right now. Feels like not a bad fish. Well, there's 2 species, cod and a bream, in about 10 minutes. Not bad. This vibe catches everything. You would have seen me in that last video, or a couple of videos ago, with the big jewie in the creek. I caught jacks, barra on these. Now a bream. Everything from bream to barra and everything in between. Yeah. It's not a bad fish. Bream guys down south will bloody go nuts for a fish like that. Here it's just bait for a barra. Livey. Nah, not quite. But we don't get too excited about bream in the north. It's not a bad fish. Atomic semi-hard vibe, 50 mil. Like I said, catch everything from bream to barramundi. I'm gonna continue trying here for a flatty because I think there's definitely gonna be one on this drop off. You can see the ripply water, then it's deep. Sandbar there where it drops off. Flooding out tides going this way. It's gonna bring food and oxygenated water to things in this drop off. They'll just sit there and wait and ambush for something to be swept to them. That's why I was predicting a flathead, and I think I'll still catch one here. Mark my words. But wind's picking up, it's about 15 knots. You can't hear that because I've got my little thing over my GoPro. Ooh, and that was a hit. And I've been lucky, I haven't been wet yet, but good rain over there, coming this way. Hopefully it keeps going north. Misses me. But we're expecting a lot more rain this weekend, so it's probably my only chance for early morning fish. With these vibes, I find less is more. Don't rip them too hard, just a small subtle twitch of the wrist. So maybe double hop like this, 1, 2. Let it sink again. Work it off the bottom. Keep it in contact closely to the bottom. That's where your fish are going to be. Especially when you're land-based, there's no point keeping it off the bottom. You have to keep it down there. So slower is better. Less is more. These vibes, you don't have to do a whole lot for them to make them work either, because they've got such a wide flat part on the dorsal side, like on the top part of its head, really wide up the top. So it vibes really well. And the semi-hard material they're made from, it's super durable, and that's why it gives it the weight to cast. These guys here, they're super heavy to cast. Even though they're so small, little dynamite, little jelly bean, you can cast them out a long way, which is great when you're prospecting off the bank and you need to get that distance. Like I can pinch that out nearly 40 meters. Work it all the way back, just slowly hopping across the bottom. And yeah, like I said, I really like that black in this dirtier water. Silhouette's better, stands out. Being land-based with the vibe as well, you don't want to rip it too hard, because the more you rip it when you're at this trajectory with your line, this angle's going out at like a 20-degree angle. There's a fish. I don't know what it is. I think it's a fish. Or it's a stick doing nothing. I was gonna, oh, it just come off. Might have been a stick. I was gonna say, yeah, when you're at this sort of angle and your line's going out at that 15-20 degree angle, the more vigorously that you vibe this thing, the more chance that the back treble hooks will foul up over the line, which is not what you want to do when you're land-based. So when you're land-based, you've got to go more subtle. If you're in the boat and you're directly jigging it or vibing it up and down, or more of an angle, okay, that's when you can be a bit more aggressive with it. But off the bank, definitely less is more. You don't want to get those rear trebles fouled up over the line every second cast. It's just nice and gentle. Oh, I've got another fish here. Feels like a cod again. It's doing nothing, but there's weight. It's either a cod or a flathead. Could be a flatty, I reckon. The way its head shakes are and the weight. Having fun though on the little vibe this morning. Been here about 25 minutes. This is the third fish. What do we got? Nah, it's a cod. Bit bigger than before. Head first, look at that. Scoff down the vibe. Stop spinning, bro. Spinning me out. Head first down the gob. That out. Definitely gonna need the pliers. I'll go back to my bag. I should just keep my pliers in my pocket, shouldn't I? Oh, had a fish then. Came off. I reckon it was a flathead. I'm on this sandbar now where it drops off, so I really want to get another species. I really want to get a flatty. I reckon I might have just lost one. Damn. But there'll be a few around here. Let's go one more cast in the same spot. The scale, eh? The scale that came off it. I don't reckon that's a flathead scale. I don't know what that's from. Do some eDNA on it. Find out the species. Probably a bream again. Been so lucky so far. The wind hasn't been hellish and it hasn't rained yet. Touch wood. Now said it. It's gonna start pouring in a minute. You watch. Oh, got something here. Oh, got a bit more poke about it. Doesn't feel like a cod. Oh, it's not taking drag though. It can't be huge. Oh, just lost it. Damn. So far I've landed the 3 fish, 2 cod and a bream, and I've lost 2. I've been here about half an hour, maybe a touch over, and landed 3 and lost 2. So 5 fish, 5 good hits, 5 fish. Although I wasn't good enough to land the last 2. It's actually been a good little session so far, considering I've only been here half an hour. And these vibes, you can punch them out like I said, and they just work. And the dark colours in the dirty water, guys, write that down. It's just started to rain, but I'm going to persist. Look what I got coming in towards me. All that white, all rain, all coming here. Coming this way. Great, I don't even have a raincoat. If I can still catch a couple of fish, I won't give a crap about the rain. Something small here. It's good, it's been at least 15 minutes before a bite then, so nice to actually get something. It's small, very small, so I don't know what it is. Little grunter. Rightio, another species. Pretty cool. Nothing massive, but third species in half an hour or 45 minutes. Grunty. But another fish on the vibe. Check out these birds. The noise it makes. There's a little rainbow over there. We've had a good shower go through. I'm pretty drenched. It's cold because the wind's come up with that little bit of rain. It's pushed a bit of a front ahead of it. So I'm wet and windy, so I'm cold. Water's a bit dirty. Conditions aren't great, but we're still catching a couple. 4 and 2, so yeah, landed 4, lost 2, so just want something a bit bigger now. Get out for a couple of hours early this morning with the dead low tide. Really low today, it's a 0.5 low up to like a 6.2 high, really massive tides. So I like coming to this spot when it's really low. I walk across that channel a bit easier, and I'm a bit closer to these rocks. Conditions right now, it's gone dead still. The sun's out, it's raining. There's cloud everywhere, there's a rainbow over there. Honestly, looks close enough to go find the gold at the end of that thing. Oh, it's like full rainbow. Hope you're picking that up. full arch actually. Right over there, that's cool. Going a bit quiet, guys. It's almost the bottom of the tide. It's probably just about to turn. And when it turns, you really got to get out of here pretty damn quick. I haven't had a bite now for a good half an hour or so. Not a touch. So, yeah, and the tidal movement's really slowed down to pretty much nothing. And I feel within the next 15-20 minutes, it's probably going to turn, start to come in. I might fish the first 15 minutes, because usually you get that bite around the turn of the tide, the first to run in, and you know, usually I'd like to fish it for longer than that, the first to run in, the first couple of hours. But out here, you can't spend a couple of hours, you need to get back across that channel. When it starts to come in, you've probably got 15-20 minutes before we can safely get across that channel that I just crossed on the way in, before it gets too deep and too fast flowing and dangerous. I've left it a little bit late on occasions before, maybe 5-10 minutes late, and it's been like mid-chest deep and pushing me. I basically started walking, and then I ended up 50 meters downstream, upstream up the river, by the time I got to the other side. The tide just took me. It was a bit hair raising, especially knowing that there's crocs in here. I probably only got 15-20 more minutes more fishing, maybe half an hour tops before I got to get out of here. Haven't had those bigger fish today, just those 4 smaller fish, and lost another couple. The tide might be just about to turn, or might have just turned, because there's so much more activity now. It's like the bait's all schooled up and getting freaked out, and things are getting smashed by larger predatory fish. I think it's been a turn of the tide that's brought on that little change of activity now. So I'm assuming it's starting to now slowly come in, and will very quickly start to increase that speed of coming in the next 10 minutes. But there's a lot of activity with bait at the moment, and things chopping at the bait. To excuse me, I'm quite puffed. I just had to basically run as best I could from the sand over there to where I am now on this bank over here. The tide turned and it came in flat out. It's a 0.5 low up to a 6.2 meter high today, so hell of a lot of movement. I've probably got 5 minutes at best from the tide turned, fishing between the stop of the tide and the run, and then it started to pour in after that. So I had to get back over here. So in closing out, using that little vibe, I just want to touch on a few things. So didn't set the world on fire today by any means. I got 4 fish, 2 cod, bream, and a grunter. Lost another 2 fish, but I think it's still worth posting this video about tips about using vibes in the estuary. So if you're going to use vibes in the estuaries and you're land-based, use something you can cast out a long way. Cover that distance. The further you can cast, the more water you cover, the better chance you're going to have at catching a fish. Those atomic semi-hard vibes are 50 mil, cast like an absolute bullet, but are small enough they're a real jelly bean. And when something grabs them, they often hang on because it feels natural. It's natural material. It's nice and soft. Use dark colors in dirty water. It's real tannin, coffee colored water today. Use dark colors. I was using a black lure today. It stands out really, really well. Silhouette's better. And then less is more with vibes. Don't vibe the hell out of it if you're land-based, because all you will do is tangle your trebles up over your line, because your angle of your line going out is quite horizontal with the land. If you're jigging up and down in a boat, deep water, yeah, you can give it a bit more. But when you're land-based and your angle of your line is quite shallow, quite a shallow angle, those trebles foul up over your line real easy. So less is more. Just a subtle jerk of the wrist, slow lift, then wind, then a pause, slow lift, pause, wind, hop, and do all that. So like I said, guys, try those tips at home. Northern Queensland estuaries, they work really well, but you can transfer those skills and use those same pieces of advice anywhere in Australia. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm gonna go get back before I get washed away. Don't forget to subscribe. Cheers, guys. Bye.